Hey, how's it going? I'm Chris with PearsonCopy.com, and I'm here to help your brand make more sales with email. As part of my 100 emails, 100 days breakdown challenge, I'm going to be breaking down a content email from the brand Black Diamond. This brand I found on my Facebook feed. They're running ads. One of their ads caught my attention, so I clicked through, checked out their website, signed up for their list, and now I'm breaking down an email that I've gotten from them. This, like I said, this is a content email, so I'm going to be breaking down what that actually looks like for a brand that sells products, e-commerce primarily, and how you can actually leverage content to sell products as opposed to just send content and hope that it builds trust. A lot of people talk about the know, like, trust factor. This content piece actually does that while also selling without you feeling like you're being sold to. So that's why I wanted to point out this email, break it down, and show you what they're doing with their copy, with their design, even, and what they're offering with this email. So let's go and dive in and get this thing going. First, what caught my attention about this email is the behind the scenes or behind the lens style subject line. So go behind the lens with Chris Burkhardt. Um, when it comes to seeing behind the lens or behind the scenes on something, people get super curious because they want to know what happens behind the camera. Really, they see what happens when they get promos. They see what happens when they get welcome emails. They see all that stuff. But like, what happens when the in this case the guy taking the photos or taking the video? What's going on behind that? It's like, what's going on with this person, and how does he do what he did? How does he do what he does? And is there an opportunity to learn from him? So yeah, the behind the scenes, almost reality TV like style content, even copy. What it does is it gives the reader fodder to compare themselves to what's going on in real life, and if they would ever want that type of lifestyle. So that type of trigger or pull to read this email brings people in almost immediately because they say, "Oh, I want to see behind the scenes." Even if it's something they're not interested in, they may click on it and most likely will because they want to see what's going on. They want to see the secret. They want to see what's actually happening as opposed to what's being shown on TV, um, what's being shown as like the polished version of something. They want to see the raw, real version. So that being said, that subject line, that's why I clicked on this and I went through this emails because I just like, that's interesting. I don't know Chris Burkhardt. I'm not really sure what Black Diamond's trying to get at here because their front name says Black Diamond and it says go behind the lens with Chris Burkhardt. I'm assuming lens is photographer, videographer of some kind. It was kind of assumed people who know who are photographers or videographers or who like the space, who like to follow people like this, who like to look at this type of art and creative expression. They get it. They're like behind the lens. Oh, I have to look at this. For me, I was more of like, I want to know who this Chris Burkhardt is. And I want to know, I want to see this behind the scenes type email that Black Diamond's sending now, as opposed to like a promo, buy now type email. So that's what got my attention. That's why I like this subject line. The one thing about this email I think that Black Diamond could potentially get rid of and test is get rid of the menu, get rid of the free shipping over $50, and just remove that entirely. Go straight into the content image that they've got here. Black Diamond presents Behind the Lens with Chris Burkhardt. This is a content email, so stop trying to sell before you even get to the content. That's one thing that will ruin a content email is if you try to get people to buy before, like they go into this thinking, oh, I'm going to get a behind the scenes look on something, and you're already trying to sell them before they even get to the content to enjoy it. So I would get rid of that. I would get rid of this entirely and test it and see what it does for your clicks and your engagement, even sales, and get right to the point here. I do like the visual here. I do like the design, showing kind of what the scene is, what the setting is. This sets the scene, and it says behind the lens with Chris Burkhardt, Black Diamond presents. So it's entertainment, right? It's content. It's we're going to entertain and potentially educate you on something, and we're presenting it. And this is for you by us. So yeah, I really like this. The next piece here, next piece of copy, follow Chris Burkhardt on an Icelandic adventure. So follow Chris Burkhardt. That's your entertainment CTA of like, hey, we're calling you on an adventure. Come on in. We're calling you in. It's the CTA to get you into the content. And the second part that gets you curious of an Icelandic adventure, if you don't know who Chris Burkhardt is, the only thing that you can really assume right now is behind the lens. He's got a camera or a video camera or a photo camera of some kind, and we're going to go see how he does what he does. Um, and I mean, with that being said, I mean, that's really the only context you have. That might be something that you do with the preview text of saying, hey, let's see, Chris Burkhardt shows he shows us how he does his thing, or photography and videography on display, or something to give us a little more context. But yeah, otherwise, I opened it, I clicked, I read. So I think it's working the way it is. If you want to mess with the preview text, test that and see if you get better opens, great. If not, I think this is probably doing just fine. But yeah, CTA into the content itself, calling you forward, and then giving you a little taste of an Icelandic adventure. So if you're interested in Iceland, if you're interested in adventure, if you get the idea of a photography or videography adventure, it's all kind of clicking now. It's coming together, right? The through line is happening. And then this copy, which I'll read through because there's a few things in here I want to talk about. On a recent assignment for Black Diamond, Chris Burkhardt took his camera on a trek through Iceland. Okay, they're setting the scene. Okay, so here's the other thing too that you have to understand. That right there sets the scene. You don't need anything else above that line right there in this email. This line right here sets the entire scene for somebody to enjoy this email. And this is why I love plain text, because with this one line, with this much space, with however many pixels that is tall and how many pixels that is wide, with this many characters, I just set a scene in somebody's brain without using all of this clutter up top. That's why I like copy. I like plain text, because I can put images in people's heads without them misinterpreting what this might be. This looks like a glacier. It probably is a glacier. It looks like a cave. Who are these people? What's going on? I'm presenting a ton of questions in the reader's mind that I don't have the answer for unless they click through the content. So why don't I just get to the point with this piece of copy here and say, this is what you're about to read. You should go check it out. When it comes to like fiction and storytelling, you want those questions to pop up because you want to eventually answer them. That's what pulls people forward. It's called open loops and open question loops, things like that. But when it comes to this type of content email, you're creating, you're sending essentially a clicker email. You want to get them so curious that they click through, but putting questions in that take them further away from clicking, not closer. That's where clicker emails can get dangerous. They ride the line. You want them to get curious about clicking through because they are clicking through because they want to, they see and feel a benefit to do so. There's an outcome for them to actually click through that they want. If they say, who are these two people? What is this ice? It doesn't connect to them. They aren't saying, me learning what this big ice piece here makes me feel good, or it's going to help me with my pain, or it's going to help me being an adventurer. That doesn't connect to them emotionally, right? But and that's why, again, this copy has to give this image context. Black Diamond presents Behind the Lens with Chris Burkhardt. That's essentially the subject line. Without this copy, if you just had an image here, people had no clue what you're talking about. So now that my rant's a little over, let's go back to the copy. That's why you could say, literally, on a recent assignment for Black Diamond, Chris Burkhardt took his camera on a trek through Iceland, his indelible muse for photography. That, again, that line right there, you could just slide that right up to the top here, say, hey, first name, on a recent assignment for Black Diamond, and just go right in the copy without all of this stuff up top. And I would imagine you could test into better click through rates and better sales. Just because you get rid of all this clutter, you have to go through. You have to get through the sale, to get through the image and understand what is this presented by, yada yada yada. Just get to the freaking point. So yeah, that's why I like this copy. That is a great scene setting and a great situation setting line of copy, and it gives a motive for the person you're about to talk about, Chris Burkhardt, which is his indelible muse for photography is Iceland, and we're about to go behind the scenes with him on his camera trek, or his trek through Iceland with his camera. Next line, he returned with a suite of images that leave the viewer with the insatiable need to get out and go on a hike, or go for a hike. So this is the one piece in this that I would say doesn't need to be here. Or we can address it in a different way. So he returned with a suite of images that leave the viewer with the insatiable need to get out and go on a hike. Okay, so you're telling me that I need to go out. You're telling me what's actually inside that will get me inspired. But here's the thing: you haven't really painted more of an image inside of my brain of like, what does that actually mean? Like, what images inspire me to go out and get on a hike? This image here, of the basically kind of the sidewall of a cave with two people walking through. This is not vast. It's not like hugely inspiring. It's a block of ice, a sheet wall here. There's two people hiking through, which looks kind of cool. They have a light. I would do something with Iceland that gets more of like the landscape, like the big sweeping landscapes, and say, hey, do you want to hike this? Click here to find out how Chris Burkhardt did it with his camera. Like that right there gets me inspired to go click and say, oh, I've got to check this out. This looks rad. So yeah, that's something I would address here. Either remove this entirely and don't tell me that I'm going to be inspired. Show me, or adjust this so that I actually get inspired instead of saying that I'm going to be inspired. This for me it may seem like it builds curiosity because you're like, oh, I got to see these images because I want to be inspired. It's like, no, the inspiration comes after the image, not before it. So we got to get people emotionally charged to go check this out, and then seeing the image justifies their emotional charge. So this, in essence, this line of copy is actually doing things backwards. What I want to do is get you emotionally charged and then show you the image and say, see, look, I told you this was worth it. And that's what I would suggest trying to do here with this. Next line here. In this film, we set out to discover how the magic happens on a Chris Burkhardt photo shoot. That right there, that closes the loop on behind the scenes. Like, this is what you're going to find out in this video. This is what's going on behind the lens. This middle sentence, I think, it's a little bit of a dud. You could remove it and just go with, took his camera on a trek through Iceland as an evolution for photography. In this film, we set out to discover how the magic happens on Chris Burkhardt photo shoot. Will you join us? Question mark. Watch now. Like, that right there would probably do better. Honestly, that's what I would test to. So this copy, I think, is pretty solid overall. That one line in the middle, I think we'd address, remove, or update or something. But otherwise, this is a solid set of copy. And it also keeps with the behind the scenes idea. So yeah, we'll move on from that. CTA to watch now. That's pretty obvious. The other thing I thought was interesting is they don't mention it at all. But there's pictures. It looks like these are pictures of Iceland. That's what I would assume. And it looks like this is the gear that potentially Chris Burkhardt is using, or Chris and the film crew or somebody, they're using this gear while they're in Iceland. Why not put something like that here and say, hey, here's the gear that Chris and the team used while they were in Iceland? Like, that is such an easy win of like saying, hey, be like Chris and buy this gear that he used in Iceland, or be like the Chris and the team and get the gear that he used in Iceland, and be like one of us. And like, that's a simple affiliate strategy, right? Is you get content, get eyeballs for a certain topic or category, and then you sell the stuff that's in that category as an affiliate. And because you can get attention, you can get sales, right? So it looks like Black Diamond is trying to use like an internal affiliate strategy of like, hey, this is the video, buy this stuff because they're using it, but they don't say that this is being used on the Chris Burkhardt adventure. There's a miss right here. Like, it's set up so well. It's set up so well with this content email and how you can sell with it, but we're just missing that this is what Chris and the team use on their adventure in Iceland. Join us next time, or become one of us, or get the gear that we use because we trust Black Diamond, etc. So that's that. I do like their move to actually put the gear here. I'm assuming it's what they used. I can't say for sure because there's nothing really here saying that's what they used. It's really just an assumption. So make that clear for people, and they'll connect to it even more. Because think about this: if they go and watch this video and they're like, "Oh, that's freaking rad! I want to know what kind of jacket that guy was wearing. That jacket was cool. I liked it. It looked like a bright orange color. I liked the hood on it. I liked how the face covering came up underneath the chin." And they come back to the email and they say, "Oh my gosh, that's the jacket." But if you put that context here of like, hey, this is the gear that the team wore on the trip, and they see that right below the button, they say, oh, cool, that's awesome. They kind of scan, okay, I'm gonna watch this video. They say, oh my God, that's the orange jacket. I want that. And they know it's here. They're gonna come back and buy it. Or that I want the spike traction device because maybe Chris started to slide and the traction caught and he didn't fall off a cliff or something. Like, that context, the brain connects those things as they watch movies, as they watch content, as they're entertained, but not giving them that hook to pull them into the gear down here, missing out on an opportunity. The final piece of this email that I really like, overall, just to be clear, I really like this email. This email is pretty solid. There's a few tweaks that I would make this on a copy in this heading here. Otherwise, this is a pretty solid email. The last piece here that I want to talk about that I think is brilliant is win a spot in an exclusive photo shoot workshop with Chris Burkhardt. So they're using this content to get you into the stuff that they're selling through with or through Chris. Not only selling gear through Black Diamond, but the stuff that Chris is presenting as a workshop, or maybe even a high ticket offer. Black Diamond's leaning into that stuff. This I'm assuming is a high ticket offer that Chris sells himself, and he's doing an affiliate. Black Diamond's trying to get an affiliate commission off selling this, or they help them produce it so they get a bigger cut. So that's something else too that Black Diamond's doing here is they're offering essentially a low ticket and a high ticket in the same email. That's something I would potentially do it this way. I would take out the Burkhardt workshop here, just remove it entirely from this email, and just do, hey, this is the gear we wore on this trip. Check it out. Go buy it now. Black Diamond gets sales. Great. If somebody clicks through and watches this, and they watch a certain percentage, or they watch this video for 30 seconds, if they watch it enough, 5 minutes, whatever the percentage is that you need to figure out, if they watch that, it's a trigger, right? You can track that. You trigger it, and guess what? You send them an email about the exclusive photo workshop with Chris Burkhardt and say, hey, you got the behind the scenes. Learn how Chris took these shots that we showed you in the video. There's an exclusive workshop. Win a spot to go sign up. If you don't win, you can still sign up within a week or 2 weeks or whatever the thing is. It's this much. This is the value, etc. And you can sell a high ticket offer off of people watching this video. If after you send that email or two, even though they watched the video and maybe you get a couple sales, a couple entrants, and then the rest of the list that didn't watch the video, you could go back and say, hey, by the way, if you missed our video, this is something that Chris shares in the video, or we will teach you what Chris does in this video, and you can send it again. There's so many different ways you could send this content to actually get a sale. And that's the point here that I like about this email is like there's so many different ways you can use this content to sell the gear, the workshop, a pairing. If you buy a jacket, whatever you buy of this gear will take off of Chris's workshop if you don't win an entry spot. And it's like, holy crap, okay, Black Diamond's going to get paid to sell his workshop. But also, like, there's so many different ways you could create the terms for this, right? So yeah, those are the big reasons I like this email. You have your socials and your footer information. I remove socials entirely from this. You're not trying to get them to go to social. You're trying to get them to buy something or watch this content. I think it's just a distraction if they get down there and click on stuff. So yeah, let's go over the three big takeaways on this. The one big takeaway, or the first big takeaway, the behind the scenes strategy. I think it's a great strategy. I think that builds curiosity and pulls people in. I would remove everything. Basically, maybe have this as the headline, or you could just do Black Diamond Presents, etc. I would just remove the image and everything up top. You're not trying to sell anything yet. You want them to watch the video so they feel inspired. They get an emotional resonance and an emotional charge to go buy. So that's the first big thing. I guess that's the second big thing. The first big thing is the behind the scenes strategy. The second thing is using content to inspire people so that they actually want to buy. That's the second big thing. Third big thing, the strategy down here. Mention that this is the gear the team wears and get people into it. I guess there's four, but that's the third thing is tie this gear to the video. Don't just assume people are going to think, that looks like Iceland. Maybe that's the gear. Maybe there's your shots from the video. You wouldn't know that unless you watch. Make it very clear this is the gear the team wore while in this video. And if you don't watch the video, you can still buy it anyway. And the final thing, the fourth big thing is I wouldn't send this in this email. What I would do is tag people that watch the video or watch a certain percentage of the video. They don't have to watch all of it, and hit them with an email separately that ask them to get us to enter to win a spot to get a workshop from what they just watched. If you want to learn how to do the stuff Chris does, he will teach you and you can win a spot. Go here. Those are the four big takeaways from this email. Please take this back to your brain, see if you can make more sales with it. If you do, let me know. I'd really enjoy hearing about your results. In the meantime, go check out my other videos. Like I said, I'm going to 100 with these breakdowns. Right now, at the time of this recording, I've got over 80. So go check those out. Take those insights away. Take them back to your brand. Make more sales. Let me know how it goes. Thanks for watching, and I'll talk to you later.